Hi. Today we're going to talk about Donald Trump and his emotional intelligence. Is it a strength? Is it a weakness? A little bit of both, maybe. So, first of all, to talk about emotional intelligence a little bit, and I've studied this topic for 25 years. So, it's both a theory that looks at one's ability to perceive and express. So, how we perceive our own emotions, how we perceive the emotions of others, then how we thoughtfully express our emotions, and how we relate to the emotions of others. I think Donald Trump is very skilled at understanding the emotions of others, especially his base. I think in 2016, he understood the depth of anger, the depth of fear. He understood people were fearful of the direction of the country. They felt like they were being left out. They were fearful of immigrants sort of taking over the country and changing it. And certainly this became a theme in 2024 as well. It was very much his campaign tied to the fears he perceived that were being held by members of his base and others. I think of the Eric Hoffer classic book, and Eric Hoffer, a longshoreman philosopher, wrote a classic book in the 1950s called The True Believer. And he said, for any movement, one of the things that is necessary is a devil for people to rally behind. And when there is a devil, that can create a mass movement. And certainly a big part of the mega movement, I would argue, was the creation of the devil, particularly the immigrants and what they were doing to the country in terms of crime, taking jobs, lawlessness, etc. Now, where Trump isn't as strong is as he understands his own emotions, and I think at times he certainly does, but how does he manage or regulate those? This is where he's challenged, and we've seen some of that this summer, starting with how Musk was handled. So he and Musk obviously had a big fallout. These things happen. When you're in Musk or when you're in Trump's position, the best thing you can do is not add fuel to the fire. Let things fizzle out. Give it little attention. Talk about, hey, people grow apart. We have different philosophies, different views. It's a good thing that Elon moved on. I thank him for what he did contribute. We certainly know that's not how it played out. There was a lot of name calling, threats, etc. And I think as a result, it caused a longer cycle than maybe there should have been to it. I think it could have fizzled out sooner had Trump stayed above the fray. In terms of his emotional intelligence makeup, it's hard for him to do that. If he's called a name, if he feels like he's been insulted, not thanked enough, he wants to retaliate and retaliate strongly with his own name calling and threats and sometimes just bullying of others. And I think we've seen that play out with Powell, to some extent, the Epstein files as well. This has been a summer of emotional intelligence challenges for Donald Trump. With Powell, it's very interesting. He has somebody that is not backing down. And, Trump showed up at the construction site of a Fed building with hard hat on and paper. So he had the visual aids. It was sort of some theater there. And he was now trying to push Powell on the cost overruns. I think he was maybe backing off a little bit of trying to get rid of Powell, knowing he was getting much pushback around keeping the Fed independent. So maybe he was working toward a justification of firing Powell for his mismanagement of the building constructions. But that didn't work, where Powell immediately fought back and said, well, this number you're throwing out here includes a building that was built 5 years ago, and he wasn't going to acquiesce. And that had Trump perplexed. He didn't know quite how to respond in the moment, and he has backed down as well. And on the Epstein front, I mean, pretty much the base, especially, looks for conspiracy theories, looks for indication that the deep state is doing its job and withholding valuable information, and with something that includes pedophiles, sex trafficking. There's always been an appetite for as much information on Epstein as possible and what kind of cover up took place. And Trump understands that about his base, and certainly has helped fuel some of the interest over time. And there were some promises made, but as things started to play out, he, of course, had to back down for his own interest, we presume. So it's interesting to see where that's all going to lead us. I think this summer will continue with particular challenges for his emotional intelligence. I think we will continue to see areas of strength, especially how he relates to his base as he understands their emotional foundation. And we will also see indications of weakness where he just can't help himself. He's not going to be one that's going to detach himself from a fray, sort of go to a balcony and look down on what's going on, and then make thoughtful decisions and articulate very carefully. That doesn't seem to be in his emotional intelligence DNA. So stay tuned. I look forward to seeing how all of this plays out.